Hello, welcome to Toffee TV. It's the match preview. Everton versus West Ham United. Saturday 3 o'clock kickoff. Wow.
Nice.
We're going to get many of them at Goodison Park. Could be. Don't know, do we? Could be.
City is still 3 at the moment, isn't
it? Could be.
I think that might be the last one.
Yeah. But you know, there you go. That's something to be excited about. But it's a game of for two teams who have obviously changed their manager in the second half of the season. Sort of weird contrast between the two. Obviously, David Moyes being the previous manager of West Ham, and Potter. A lot of people thought he was going to become the Everton manager. So, since both managers have taken over, both clubs have sort of taken different routes. West Ham weren't really in trouble, and yet we find ourselves playing them with exactly the same points, but obviously above them in the table. So it's been a really strange couple of months for both clubs as they start their journeys onto different things. But this is a game where Everton. I mean, there's a tough month in April coming up. We all know that, and this is a game where you look at it and think 3 points here, get that gap between us and them. And then you go into next month on the right footing, looking up the table and thinking, like, how high can we finish, and having a little bit of confidence, I think. And I think for me it's an important game because there's still 10 games left. There's still a quarter of the season left. It's important that we don't let the season just peter out a little bit, and we finish it as strong as we can. And I think 3 points on Saturday would be a major step forward if we're going to do that.
Yeah, and we've been a bit rubbish against West Ham in recent years. They were a team that we only had to turn up at Goodison to beat for many a year. But I think West Ham have won 4 of the last 6 at Goodison, which is unheard of in my life. And they've been better than us over that period of time, haven't they? Which has probably been the reason why they've won most of the games. They just seem to have been a better side. Good luck to them. But this time, I think Everton are in better form than them. Although they've got 6 points in the last 3 games, haven't they? But I still think Everton, just right now, are better or in better form at 8 unbeaten. And it's a great opportunity to put a little bit of, a win between us, like you said. Because obviously no game again after this weekend till the 2nd of April, which is obviously the Merseyside derby. So, we've drawn the last 3 and we should have won at least 2 of those games. Yeah. United sticking in the throat last time out at Goodison, really poor result overall. And it's an opportunity, although it will be a tough game and they do have dangerous players. It's an opportunity to get back to winning ways and take us up to 36 points, and like you say, then there'll be a quarter of the season left. Well, like now, isn't it? So there'll be 9 games after that to see how many points we can garner. But it'll be a tough game. But going into that run of Man United, Brentford, Wolves, West Ham, I was expecting at least 3 wins out of 4. Or certainly 2 wins and 2 draws, and the opening 3 have gone and we haven't won any of them. So this is a not a must win, because obviously Everton is safe, and I haven't had anyone saying West Ham are in a relegation battle, which is mad. But it's a great opportunity, but it will be a difficult game.
Yeah, it will be. What have you made of West Ham? Obviously under Graham Potter, they've picked up 3 wins in around the same amount of time that David Moyes has been in charge at Everton. So I mean, it is. I suppose it's rejigging the whole thing, isn't it? Rather than, and the pressures weren't there when he came in. The pressures of staying up and getting points immediately weren't there, and there wasn't that immediacy. And I know they won their first game, and they've won 2 of their last 3. Obviously, getting beat by Newcastle on Monday night, but it hasn't sort of gone off like it has with David Moyes at Everton. But do you think sometimes that can be not the worst thing in the world as you start to get under the skin of things and see what's actually what really needs to happen at West Ham?
Yeah, I watched they lost the first game, didn't they, which was Villa in the cup, but they done all right. But then I watched them against Fulham, and I'm sure any West Ham fan watching this would agree, they got very lucky that night. Fulham were by far the better side, and Fulham threw 3 goals into their own net. It was mad. So we got off to a winning start then, and then obviously stuttered. They won at Arsenal. Arsenal were the better side, but he got the goal and held on, defended really well and won there. And that's gave them a big boost, obviously. And he beat Leicester as well, I think, didn't he? But it'll take him time because he plays a different way. West Ham might want to play the way Graham Potter plays. He's a coach who needs time. I think in an ideal world, he'd have took a job in the summer, which would have given him the chance to work with the players on stuff without needing results immediately. But you're right, when he came in, they were about 8 points ahead of Everton, I think, something like that. They weren't even being talked about as in the relegation battles. And obviously David Moyes hit the ground running, so to speak, with wins. And Graham Potter didn't, and that's why the two teams have flipped a little bit, and they've come back into the mix with Everton. Now, Everton had a bit of a margin on them the other week, and the 2 wins have really got them back in amongst it. But it'll take time for him to do what he wants there. But he's a good coach, and if they give him the time and give him the right players, he'll make them better. Yeah, I mean, they have been unfortunate with the injuries. They don't really have a... Yeah, they haven't got a say. They haven't got a say. I mean, they did bring in Evan Ferguson on loan. But obviously they've had... Like, they're strange. They're just weird the way you find this at some clubs, and it's so weird when you're looking from the outside in at clubs that everyone can sort of see what they need and they don't address it. And it felt like that with West Ham. Antonio, obviously, you looked at him as a player and thought he's not up to it. Fulkrug was never the answer, even though it's been really interesting just watching how that was going to happen, because he's like sort of like a cult figure. But obviously his injuries have, he's never a player you looked at and thought, you're going to play loads of minutes in the Premier League because you look dead fit, mate. He was never that. So that was a weird one as well. So they never went after what they really needed. At the moment they've got Bowen and Kudos playing up front, and they're wide men, they're wide forwards. So that leaves that sort of gaping hole, or that player that is going to push up against the centre backs and move them around a bit. So do you think that's a mix of obviously being unfortunate with the injuries, and Antonio obviously is not a footballing injury as such, but then there's that start, like, why didn't you buy centre forward? Yeah, I mean, the summer they had obviously Lopetegui. I thought it was a weird appointment. I spoke to a couple of West Ham fans who I don't think had actually watched Lopetegui, because they thought he was going to be a big upgrade on David Moyes, and he's nowhere near that. David Moyes was far better, or certainly understands English football far better than he does, but he was a defensive manager. But the centre forward is key to everything. You've got to have a goal scorer. I mean, when Moyes was at West Ham, they were obviously very good. They were in Europe every year. They were really difficult to play against, but they were a good side as well. But even David didn't get it right for West Ham with a striker. He tried Halle, it didn't work. He tried Schumacher, it didn't work. So it's been an issue for them getting a centre forward, but there's enough around to go with Fulkrug and pay 30 million quid or whatever they paid for someone his age and his profile was a little bit of a head scratch. Yet me personally, Antonio, I've never been a fan of Mikel Antonio. I think he's okay, but that's it. Having to go with, obviously, I really like Jarrod Bowen, think he's excellent. Really like Mohamed Kudus, think he's excellent, but neither of them are strikers. And if you haven't got someone to put the ball in the net at the top end of the pitch, you're always going to struggle. We found it ourselves in the first half of the season. Obviously, Beto's coming to the side and scored goals for us, which has really given us a helping hand. But for West Ham, given what they've done over the last few years and being in Europe, the 3 years out of four with David Moyes and winning the Conference League and all that, you always felt like they were capable of going and getting a good striker, which would have just complemented everything else they did, and coping with Declan Rice going and the way they did and all that. Moyes done such a good job, he still managed to keep them up there. But yeah, the striker situation, very, very much like Arsenal. Yeah. It must be the air in London. They've not been able to. Almost address the thing that everybody can see. I'm sure loads of West Ham fans are screaming and going, "Yeah, we can see it as well." But the club haven't been able to get that one right.
Yeah, very strange. But he's obviously got Souček in midfield, who obviously does create that aerial threat. He's brought James Ward-Prowse back into midfield as well. Let's just have a look at the team actually that played and were beaten by Newcastle on Monday night. And as you can see there, Ward-Prowse, Souček, Alvarez in there as well. Obviously playing 3 at the back. And yeah, he's changed it round a bit and said it's not quite settled down yet for West Ham. But it'll be a tough game, and it feels like it'll be a game of very few goals as well. And obviously we had a 0-0 draw early on the season. I just remember watching that thinking, these two teams, as bad as that game was, you watched them and just thought, these two teams shouldn't be in any trouble really, just because they both know how to sort of get that draw, get that dull. You know, I remember both managers felt like a little bit under pressure there, and it felt like a game where it was like no one wanted to lose that game. And sometimes sometimes that can be when it's a case of no one wants to lose, no one does lose. It just permeates through the whole thing. So it's going to be interesting how West Ham develop. But for us, it's as I said, Everton just got to, as you said there, like, you know, the Man United game was the last home game. Obviously, was one of them where you looked at it and it was like 2-0 up. We could have took that energy on, but again, it's after 60 minutes we look like we start at home, saying we just don't have that energy. And then when we went to Brentford, it was like the other way around. For 70 minutes we didn't look like we had anything, and then the last 20 minutes we really pushed on and really could have won the game. And then at Wolves, it was, again, when it's all about two teams going, we're not going to lose. That's what that felt on Saturday. So I think we do all need that little bit of pick me up in a little way. Just like, let's not start falling into those habits again that we were in before. But that's difficult, isn't it? And when we look at the Everton team from the Wolves game, it's hard, isn't it? Because it's the same team week in, week out, and there's no one coming in to sort of fill those gaps. We know Schmidt was on the bench obviously on Saturday. Brozier is training, but it's those wide areas, isn't it, where West Ham have got a couple playing up front for them. We obviously massively missing Jai, who's out. So it's getting more out of those players again, isn't it? And everyone's got to see those players play for the last 4, 5, 6 games, and they're starting to go, we know how to work these players out now.
Yeah, there's no freshness, is there? Because we haven't got the options. It's as simple as that. The manager's done incredibly well. You know, we took over and lost players. We didn't gain players, and we need the players. You know, we were a point ahead of the relegation zone when he took over. We're 16 points ahead of it now. It tells you how good the job the manager's done. But ultimately, it's back to those players. Yeah. The weekend will be about the crowd, keeping the energy going. We've been very good at home. You know, even United was probably the easiest home game we've had for a long time, and we ended up for 70 minutes, and we ended up throwing it away the last 20. But if we play like we did in that opening 70 minutes, we'll beat West Ham on Saturday. It's simple as that. And they've got to do what they were doing really well: press high, put them under pressure. We know they're going to try and pass it off. I watched a bit of them the other night against Newcastle. Newcastle seemed to cope with them quite comfortably, because it's still a work in progress for West Ham, and obviously I think getting the first goal's absolutely key. For us, the options aren't going to be there. That, you know, we might get to sort of the middle of April and get a few back for the last few games, but very much for us the focus is the summer, changing this squad, bringing in new players, moving to a new stadium. But there is only 5 games left at Goodison. These are precious games now. There isn't the pressure on them what was there. So the fans need to enjoy it, I'm sure they will, and the players need to enjoy it. And if the players go and play with that energy, they've had a couple of days more rest than West Ham, if you want to look at it like that. You know, West Ham played Monday, so the onus is on us. We've got a difficult game after this, but albeit it isn't for a few weeks. But the Merseyside derby and Anfield will be tough. Then we've got Arsenal at home, so which looks probably more tough on paper than probably what it'll be, because Arsenal are grim at the moment. But this represents a really good opportunity to have a couple of weeks break on the back of a win. But West Ham are dangerous, got dangerous players, and it's going to be on us to keep the energy levels up.
Yeah, let's just have a look at Jarrod Bowen's numbers from the season, because he's obviously the player that we look at and feel like he's going to be the most dangerous. Obviously you can see there, obviously coming off the right hand side, 24 games, 7 goals, XG, just, in and around it, 4 assists.
More than 2 shots a game.
Yeah.
He's dangerous, isn't he?
He's a good player, isn't he? He's always been a good player. And again, he was one of those players that you feel like we missed out on because he was the kind of player David Moyes would have always gone after when we were at it.
Well, we were linked with him quite a bit. You know, I think when this was here, I feel like when he was doing really well at Hull, we were linked with him a few times and we didn't go and get him. Maybe when Koeman was here as well, we didn't go and get him, and West Ham did, and he's been brilliant for West Ham. Obviously played for England as well. He's done brilliantly again. West Ham captain, I think, at the moment. So, yeah, really good player, dangerous. Got to watch out for him.
Yeah. No, it's gonna be a tough game. I don't think there's gonna be loads of goals in it. Again, two teams that might look at this game and be like, you know, I don't know, what's it? Going into that break, no one likes losing before a break. No one likes, but it's on us, isn't it? We're the home team. It's on us as fans as well to make it. You know, again, 5 cup finals, only 5 games left. It's up to us. 3 o'clock kick-off to keep that, as you said, keep that energy up. Keep it. There'll be, you know, the last game out against Manchester United, we had a fantastic opportunity and we just couldn't take it. We just couldn't get over the line. Let's hope if we can get, you know, if the game follows a similar pattern in terms of getting a couple of goals up, that we can keep it going. And hopefully we've got those couple of extra bodies that can come off the bench, and maybe the manager will look at it and go, if there is half an hour left, I am bringing Schmidt on, or I am bringing a Brozier on with 10 minutes left, or I'm even bringing a Seamus Coleman off the bench, just because, you know, he said the last time out he could have done that but he didn't, just to freshen it up a little bit and give us something a little bit extra.
Yeah, it's the energy's key and the subs are key, aren't they? And you've got to use them, and obviously as the players get fitter and fitter, the ones coming back, the manager will feel like he's got that ability to use them. And then it's on the players then. Go on and do your job and get over the line, and then go into a break with off the back of a good result. And obviously it's a reset then, isn't it? Because you've got a couple of weeks to then hopefully get Illiman and Jai closer to it. Yeah. You know, maybe Calvert-Lewin or whatever. And, you know, we don't know what's happening with Dwight McNeil, but, you know, maybe he moves a bit closer to being back with the group. So we'll see. But Saturday, all eyes on Saturday.
Yeah. There you go. Let us know your thoughts in the comments on this one. The last time West Ham fans get to come to Goodison, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, you know, you left your traditional ground, and I know some of you have never got over that. So what are your thoughts on your last trip to Goodison Park? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Make sure to give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't already. If you want more great videos, join us over on Toffee TV Premier. The link is in the description, and the QR code is coming on the screen now. See you later.